Congratulations, Movie Mike, on 500 subscribers. Uh, I'm almost kind of sort of halfway there, so that's amazing. The films you wanted to talk about were some of my favorites with two of my favorite characters, Batman and Superman. I'm a big comic book fan, and I grew up watching watching the old Batman 1966 series. No, I'm not that old, but it did come on in reruns on Sunday mornings with a little show called Switchback. And in 1989, when Batman came out, it was the year that I graduated from high school. I was so excited to go see the movie in the theater at that time that I actually ran excitedly home to get ready to go to the town that had the theater in it, because my town didn't have a theater, and I twisted my ankle really bad. So I went to see Batman the 1989 film on a busted ankle, literally with a crutch in my hand, waiting in a huge line that went all the way around the street to see the 1989 Batman film. I saw all the Superman films in theater as well, and even though I saw them in theater, one of my most exciting times of watching the Superman film was when they brought Superman 2 into our school. They had the whole school going to the gym for a big assembly. They put it on the big 20-something inch screen television set at the time, and they got the CED disc of Superman 2, and we watched it there. And I watched with my friends. It was amazing, and we all were just blown away. I got to watch it again with my friends. It was cool to see their reactions on the film, and I guess that doesn't say which is my favorite out of the two. And it's really hard to say because they're such different characters. And as far as updates go, I like where they went with the Man of Steel more than I like where they went with the Dark Knight. Love Christopher Nolan's work. Love his style of directing. He's a big film noir fan. It really shows in a lot of his movies. But as far as casting goes, he was spot on with guys like Gary Oldman. He was amazing using Aaron Eckhart in the Dark Knight. Tom Hardy, I think, did a wonderful job, despite what people say, in The Dark Knight Rises. But you know where those movies fell short? In Batman. Love Christian Bale, great actor, not a good Batman, not a good choice for the role. And I know that goes against what commonly is said on the internet and on forums and stuff like that, but as much as I love those films, it's always the Christian Bale scenes that take me out of the Batman films. Every time he's Batman, I don't believe it. I don't believe him as the character of Batman. I don't believe him as the character, especially of Bruce Wayne. He just comes off as Christian Bale playing a role. And that's not the way that it should be when you're watching a Batman film. Because you've got this wonderfully shot film, beautifully directed film, great casting almost overall. Because after all, Gary Oldman, Pat Hingle, you know who's going to win out there. But for me, my favorite film in the Batman franchise, the whole Batman thing, is probably, I got to go with the 1989 Batman. It's just so wonderfully shot. The city, Gotham City, is so well rendered in this film. It's exactly what anybody that had read the Batman comic book was expecting when they were going in to see Batman. Jack Nicholson was born to play the role of the Joker. Nothing against Heath Ledger. Does an amazing job in the character he plays, but for me it's not the Joker. It's a psychotic character. It's a great character. It's not the Joker. Jack Nicholson defines this role, and he would define it until Mark Hamill played it in the animated series. He becomes the Joker. It's like this is a role made for Jack Nicholson to play. He just walks in it. There's some incredible stuff. The shots, the way that Michael Keaton plays Batman, he doesn't have to go over the top. He doesn't have to go with an overly gruff, silly voice. He just does an amazing, great job of playing Batman and of playing Bruce Wayne. They are two separate characters, but you can see the damage in Keaton's eyes. That's all you need with Michael Keaton. You can be soft-spoken. You can see the damage in Keaton's eyes as a person, as a human being. You can see why he's doing this, how he's doing this. You do not need some overblown explanation of, okay, let's bring him to the let's see him going around from country to country. Let's see him meeting Ra's al Ghul. Let's see all this stuff. Let's see him have him fall down into this huge cave and be scared off by a crapload of bats. No, he's a damaged person. His family died in front of him. That's what Batman is. That's what the character is. That's what it's supposed to be. It gets it all done in a very short period of time. Are there problems with the film? Definitely there are problems with the film. Kim Basinger is not one of them. She's gorgeous. She does a great job as Vicky Vale. Michael Gough cannot be beaten as Alfred. I'm sorry, there is nobody that's ever played Alfred. Michael Caine, I'm a great actor. You do amazing in so many roles. Alfred is not one of those roles. But this is Batman from the comics. And what's ironic is that Tim Burton probably, I don't think he was actually a fan of the Batman comics, but he got it right because Tim Burton got the visual aspect of it right, and it was before Tim Burton got too Tim Burton-esque in making some of his weirder films. He actually grasped the character of Batman. He grasped the characters that he was working with, and he knew the type of world that he was playing in. He understood the sandbox, and he remade it in his way, in a way that it pleased the fans. And a lot of people that didn't grow up with that just came in and they saw the new ones, and that was their Batman up. Great, but it's not my Batman. Batman is my favorite character. I'm a huge Superman fan, and you'll see Superman stuff all over my house. I've had Superman birthday cakes. So when the Man of Steel actually delivered for me, I was surprised because honestly, Superman and Superman 2 are two really good superhero films. But that being said, there hasn't been a Superman film yet for me that is comparative to the 1989 Batman. I love the way that the 1989 Batman works. It's just an incredible film. It's incredibly shot. It's so well done. I love the characters. I love the characterization of Batman. I love the way that Jack Nicholson takes the Joker. I do not mind that they give an origin to the Joker. That bothered some people at the time, but you know what? It didn't bother me. It was just a little bit of fun, and you got to see why the Joker is such a psychotic egotist like he is in the comics. It made sense. Did he have to have the Joker be the one that killed Batman's parents? No, but it was a cinematic dalliance. Not the greatest idea, but it works for the film. Batman does exactly what Batman is supposed to do. It captures you up in this world. You are in there for the entire time, and I loved it. So Batman, the 1989 version, is my favorite film in the Batman Superman franchise. And I'm not even going to go for the animated stuff. It's too much to include in there. And I also excluded the 1966 Batman film, which I really do love. The Bat Shark repellent scene is one of my favorite scenes. And it's really cool when that rubber shark is going on there. You know, pass me the Bat Shark repellent. I just love that. I love Adam West. He's incredible. I got to meet the guy. He's a nice guy. But no, it's my favorite was definitely the 1989 Batman film. As for the comics go, I've read the comics all throughout. A lot of people love the whole Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, stuff like that. That's incredible, extremely well done. I get it. The Killing Joke, another great one. But I like the comics themselves, and one of my favorite runs on Batman is the Danny O'Neill run on Batman, when they were kind of dealing with the whole mystery aspect of the Batman character. I really love that. I love what they're doing. I was not big on a lot of like the early gangstery Batman. You know, I was kind of surprised when they squashed Alfred with that boulder. That kind of came out of nowhere. And I was not the hugest fan of the sci-fi era of Batman. Though it was kind of fun as a kind of a little like side story thing. But I really, really enjoyed the Danny O'Neill Batman, the Neil Adams drawn Batman stuff. Just some really, really great stuff. Some great stories, some great introductions, some great characters around that time. We got to see so many characters being brought in. The Rogues Gallery just grew and grew, and we had some great stories. I remember seeing characters like, oh my God, there's just so many. We got to see more of Deadman. We got to see more of like a Man-Bat, and were more fantastical characters, but just worked so well in the mythos of Batman. I remember reading the whole Detective 100-page comic Giants. Used to love those. And that's my thought on the Batman comics. As for the Superman comics, I was a huge fan of like the cheesier stuff. The cheesier Superman could get in the comic books, the better I liked it. I loved the old adventure comics with Superboy. I used to get out of school when they would come down to my shop. I would go buy that. I'll buy it was Adventure. Yeah, pretty sure it was Adventure. It was for Superboy, and I would buy Haunted Tank and stuff like that. And I would sit down by a tree that was close to where I lived, and I would just like thumb through and read it and read it and read it over and over again. Those comics just until there was basically no cover left. Got to the point where I decided I was too old for comics at a certain age, and decided to do, instead of a lemonade stand, I decided to do a comic book stand. It was a windy day, and it wasn't a good idea, so that didn't work out too well. But again, 500 subscribers, great. I hope I've answered everything in your contest. Love the digital book, especially that Dark Knight one. Dark Knight Rises looks amazing. I did find that movie really good. Was one of my favorites in the series. A lot of people really rag on it, but I like it up to the point where, well, you know, we've got a really strong character with Bane, and he becomes kind of a bitch and a whiner at the end of the movie. But so be it. I had fun. I think by the time I saw Dark Knight Rises, I could enjoy the other two Batman films, but I enjoy them as one entity, not as singular films. Batman Begins was my favorite in the out of those three, but honestly, again, I enjoyed those three Batman films as one entity, but I do not enjoy them as separate films. I don't think that they work well on their own, but that's me, and I'm pretty much one of the only people you're going to hear say that. For me, 1989 is the Batman film. The great Michael Keaton, who has not been beaten as an actual face for Batman, yet I was really looking forward to Val Kilmer, but the movie wasn't that great. George Clooney actually looked like Batman, coming out of the comic book, but it was a horrible, horrible film, and it's just a 1989. I do love Mario Puzo's Superman film that Richard Donner did, but you know, it gets silly when he turns back to the world and stuff like that. As much as I love it, there are some fatal flaws with that movie. Part 2 is a great film as well, but you know what? For me, I got to go with the 1989 Batman. That is my film. That is my franchise. That is my character. And I have so many years invested in those characters. I grew up watching and reading them for years and years. I was one of those sickly little kids that spent a lot of times in the hospital, so I spent a lot of times with comic books. Thanks for watching. Great with 500 subscribers. Man, I hope I can get that good that I get there at some point. And have a great night, because right now I'm going to go and rest and have some tea. For me, it is time for tea.